money here, spending half an hour waiting for people to get through this thing, right? Also for staff management, this is really important. You know, do I have the right people in the restaurant and so on? So the application of this is really falls into three big categories. Number one is that restaurants are very much interested. For example, in restaurant, if you're losing your repeat customer, that's a bad thing. It means your business is not doing well, right? Airports are very much interested on this. Hotels are very much interested. Casinos. Casinos, I just came back from a casino in Macau in China. This casino does $5 million a day profit. $5 million a day profit. So every second is a lot of money. So if you can get a dealer to deal faster, I mean, that's like millions of dollars going on the bottom of the... So this is really a business analytics here example there. All right, great. And then what you can also do is that not only you want to see what people buy, but you want to see their shopping habits. For example, talking about some of the predictive analysis you talk about. If I see people who go to Starbucks, after Starbucks they go to Nordstrom, right? Let's say I am Macy's. I may want to put a sign in there, depending on who these people are, to redirect them to actually go to Macy's and not Nordstrom, right? Again, by knowing what people are and what their behavior are, we can do some analysis and redirect people, which is huge for the companies there. So again, here what you're looking at here is the heat map analysis. This is also very important for security. You know, if you look at the large airports, again, they wanted to see what the traffic is and so on and so forth. So where should they put the police and the dog and the car to watch the traffic in there? So again, that's very important. I also want to touch on Apple. So Apple came up with a product called iBeacon. How many people? Yep, some people raise their hand. It's getting a lot of buzz out there. What it is a Bluetooth low energy device. It's just a device that basically runs with a battery. The battery runs about 2 or 3 years. And then what Apple asks you to do is to download this app. The nice thing about this app is that A, you know you're being tracked. I think that's nice. The second one is that as you're going through the store, if you have this app, you will see advertisement and coupons coming to you depending on your background and where you are. So if you look at this example, you know, if I go to that, whatever, the shoe department and so on, the shoe says, you know, the shoes are 20% off, gets me to buy this, right? And then also when I leave, because he knows who I am, automatically charges my credit card. Okay, I believe this is actually implemented in the Apple stores. Anybody has been to the Apple stores recently? You have, does it work? They said that Apple store, you can actually pick up like one of their, I don't know, Bose speakers or whatever, and just walk out and automatically charges your credit card. Nobody even has to, you know, stop you. So have you tried that? You either get arrested or you get charged. So please try it and let us know. All right, so my last slide here. So presence analytics, so who are the users? So the users are operations. So again, if I'm running a restaurant, I want to know how many people I need in my restaurant as waiters. I need to know where I put the table, which hours I'm open and so on. Merchandise and marketing, of course. Again, remember, the money which used to go into print advertisement is now going to a lot of digital advertisement, and this really falls in that category there, right? Security is very much interested. For example, if I know an individual is a shoplifter and he happens to be in my store, I want the cell phone to start ringing for the security so they can kick that guy out, right? So again, having that profile of people is really important. So, and really the idea is that what are the KPIs? KPIs again are key performance indicators. I want to look at store performance, conversion, traffic, so on and so forth. Just an example of areas where you know, our solution at Kiana being used is 20 large dealership, car dealership. We are, as I mentioned, a big casino. We just signed a contract with a large airport in South America. Again, these are all trying to see what the traffic is and how can they really help the customers to have a better service and really fight with the online business taking all the money. That's basically what presence analytics does. Thank you.
We'll take questions after this last one.
Yeah, hello. Next speaker is Simon. Simon, you want to connect?
Sure. Can you just put that on? Yeah. Thank you.
I'll jump a little bit, so because of whatever I try to say, you talk, by all these great presenters here, So my name is Simon Zhang, and I work for LinkedIn, for about 4 years. Right now, I run the monetization-related analytics team, for several company. We cover marketing, sales, product engineering, operation, trust and safety, and the customer service. We touch a lot of people. And currently the team, we have about 60 people in the organization, but we serve almost 4,000 direct employees. I mean, I think I will pass this in the definition of analytics, because of Vin already talked about that. And I could cover this a little bit, but they talk about that as well, the iceberg. Right? So, huge, mountain, but below the ocean lies, that's the true work, exists. And I want to talk about this. People don't want the iceberg. People want ice cream. So our job is, convert big data, huge those iceberg into small, useful, tasty ice cream, for people. So, and I want to jump a little bit here. This is almost our LinkedIn data analytics strategy, It's not defined by Jeff Weiner or Reid Hoffman. It's kind of defined by our internal team, us. So 4 major steps. I just want to highlight 4 major steps. Number 1, build a solid data analytics foundation. Number 1. Number 2, scale analytics. Convert those ad hoc analysis into internal solutions. We can help a lot of internal employees, for example. Number 3, we want to productionize the learning and then flip that on LinkedIn.com. Number 4, we want to develop a lot of useful data products and then connect them into a matrix. So provide the leverage across different data products. I will share a little learning of why I say this. 4 steps. 4 steps: foundation, solutions, data product matrix, like the movie Matrix. So, and I will jump in a little bit here. The foundation actually is about this pyramid shape, right? Very basic. We need to understand the product in a very, very deep way, like Vin and all the presenters said. You need to understand business first. Second, you store the data efficiently, Hadoop, data warehouse, whatever, and then do analysis, do BI, do deeper learning or predictive modeling, let's say machine learning, McKinsey type of statistical analysis, and then drive insights. Very importantly, interesting is not important at LinkedIn. We must be able to drive actions and provide more value. That's the core concept. Number 2 step is we collapse the pyramid into a football shape. So the reason we do this because the bottom tier, like the iceberg, just takes too much time. And however, we don't want to say no to the bottom because that's the foundation. We have to leverage technology to shrink the base without doing less. You see the idea? Shrink the base by using technology, but not saying no or deprioritize the bottoms. And then people can have time to do more decision making and analytics. Number 3 is, so remember I talked about the 8 layers. I'm kind of jumping very fast, right? 8 steps. We don't feel, the foundation are less important or more important than the decision making. Actually, all these, process or tiers are equally important. That's a very important idea at LinkedIn. We don't feel data tracking, for example, data storage is less important than McKinsey type of analysis, or this deep learning can generate more value than basic reporting. Actually, all of these, 8 things, connect together, become a circle. This we call data-driven product. So, number 4 is, you see we have a lot of those circles. So actually, every single circle become a single node or dot, on the map. All of those, small data products actually connect together, become our LinkedIn revenue generator, on LinkedIn.com. I will give some examples, what we did, for sales team very quickly. So let's jump to the business. So my job is to use data to support monetization at LinkedIn. So which means we need to make money for LinkedIn by using analysis. So let me share a B2B sales or marketing stories, internally, how LinkedIn Analytics support internal sales team by using LinkedIn data. So how many people know B2B sales? Great, wonderful, great, join LinkedIn, LinkedIn need more. So, just kidding. And typically, salespeople ask 5 questions. Number 1, within LinkedIn, we have 3 million or maybe almost 4 million enterprise level companies in the database. So which company should I, as a salesperson, contact? And how much money this account or prospect would worth to LinkedIn? Number 1 question, okay? Which company? Number 2 question, within that company, who should I, as a salesperson, should contact, right? And a lot of people do, Google search, calling friends, try to understand, let's say, who will be the decision maker for that, let's say, HR, marketing, or sales department. So number 3 question is how to reach out. Trust me, I know Deepak, doesn't mean I can sell, laptop to Deepak, tomorrow, right? There must be the right, person can have the largest influence, to Deepak. But that person is not me, must be my friend or someone. So that's an example. Number 4 questions, which salesperson should be assigned to this account? For example, let's say we know Google, let's say we predict Google will spend $30 million per year on LinkedIn. But in the whole sales group, we have 2,000 salespeople. Which person should be assigned to this Google account? By which criteria? Is that only based on because he knows, let's say, Larry Page or something? Or this person have a super strong connection through all the departments, right? And the final connect is the VP of HR. The number 5 question is, what is the story LinkedIn should tell this execs or decision maker about why LinkedIn is valuable? Simple, 5 questions salespeople always try to answer or ask. So what we did at LinkedIn, number 1, we used the LinkedIn data to calculate every single company's net worth for LinkedIn on an annual basis for 3 revenue lines. Talent solutions, for example, recruiting business, marketing solutions, advertisement business, and sales solutions, which is sales business. We calculate the dollar value at, let's say, $1,000, whatever-ish, precision level. And then we tell salespeople, hey, Google worth, let's say, $30 million per year. The first time that we built a model, the salespeople just closed a deal with Google, let's say, annualized $5 million. That was the largest deal ever, 3.5 years ago. People are celebrating, oh great, we make money for LinkedIn. This is the celebrating, right? People, having beers, during the evening or night. But, the day after finish the model, we told them, hey, you need to close $30 million in the next round. The salesperson was mad, really, really mad. They say, I don't know how to do it. It's your job to sell this to Google. However, actually the model is very simple. We just analyze how many people joined Google, how many people left Google, who joined Google, who left, how frequently, how many people they hired, minus how many people they churn. How many recruiters they have, how many HR people they have, do they use agency or not? What's the average salary per employee? You see, those are basic data points. Finally, we form a formula, reverse engineer, because if they use agency, right? Let's consider use agency. 30% of the first year salary should go to agency's pocket. And let's say they use a referral. They find all their friends they can hire. Can they hire 100% people from their network? Impossible. They must recruit from out of their referral engine, right? So use this in a model. We calculate very precisely what LinkedIn could close for each of the company, including Netflix, Yahoo, Facebook, IBM, everything we have in the database. Second step, who to contact. Because the beautiful about LinkedIn is we have a great our profile system on LinkedIn, and also they have their network, right? As salesperson, as I log into our internal system, we can quickly analyze their direct first degree connections and secondary connections, who this person can connect to about Google. And then we figure out, the decision maker who use Google most likely will have a 5x higher likelihood to buy LinkedIn product. So typically people think, oh, VP HR will buy LinkedIn, let's say, recruiter product. No, that's wrong. So typically a director of recruiting, a sourcer, he or she is the key, contact for LinkedIn. And then we analyze the internal salespeople's network, find out who has the strongest, relationship with this guy, and then use the path to help to close the deal, but not directly call the guy. Calling the guy means shutting down the door. No one wants to answer salespeople's phone call, right? However, using the friends path, deal close higher than, let's say, the normal. Number 4, which salesperson should be assigned to account? Before typically do B2B selling, you have to rely on, let's say, territory planning. For example, hey, California, people, say, who live in California, you manage all the West Coast, accounts. So who live in New York manage IBM because their headquarters was there, right? All this is based on geographic location, high level. We found out that's super inefficient. What we did is we analyzed each salesperson's network strengths across all the companies to calculate their the proxy about the closing the deal, the likelihood. And then we use that to reallocate all the salespeople mixed with the first model, which company, right? Which person, which salesperson. Finally, we end up with, what is the story? The story is very important. It's just like, everyone here share, right? Communication generate truth. Sorry to say that, but that's truth. Communications generate truth. So the story we tell Google actually is a data-driven story. It's a personalized story, right? Google as a company, we know they're VP of, let's say, director of sourcing, We know, so the salesperson network, after they click the button, we automatically use LinkedIn data to generate a story about why Google need to use LinkedIn, but not, let's say, somebody else to do recruiting. Because LinkedIn know their HR, migration, for example, talent flow, way more better than Google people know. Also, LinkedIn know who would join, who has a higher likelihood, to join Google better than anybody else. Because we know, we can predict, the talent flow, right? From which company they hire most, and where they churn people to. These type of insights, they never seen this before. By the way, plus, all those insights are based on the person, let's say, in the green part. So that person's profile, we analyze this person. We figure out, what's his preference, why he's important. All this in the story are linked, very well together. All of this, actually, at the LinkedIn, 3 years ago or 2 years ago, it's a button. They don't need to do any of the research because the account being assigned to them. If they want to close Google, they only click this button. The whole PowerPoint, been generated for them. And everything, one button. That was 2.5 years ago, and right after, before or after IPO. So, and the next step is, it's not the start 2.5 years ago. That's what's happened. 1.5 years ago, we push all those information to salespeople instead of they click the button. Because of, who watched that TV show Lost? Yes, remember the guy need to click the button every 20 minutes. That's what we figure out, oh man, that's wrong. And then we found out, to send the right information to the right, salesperson on the right time is very important for closing more deals or retention customers. For example, let's say Google's VP of HR is leaving. Boom, we trigger a series about flags and triggers. First, this account is in danger because a lot of B2B sales is really relationship based sales. Second, this person will join a new company. The farming side is in danger. People need to know. But the hunting side, right? You can get a new deal, from this person because the relationship is migrating to another new firm. So we can do this in a very efficient way. After we launched this, internal data product, LinkedIn revenue, I think, A/B testing, right? Before after we jumped 175% revenue more than before. Because of what? Nothing changed. It's just because we are more efficient, right? Used to take, let's say, 1 month, maybe 2 months to close this deal. Right now, we can at least understand this, within 30 minutes. And technology stuff, I want to pass, so this is just data, from big, petabytes to terabytes to gigabytes, to megabytes. Finally, the DAC, right? Several hundred kilobytes, the DAC. And that's how we do, sales business. As of today, this, 3 years ago, we built a product. Right now, it's become a LinkedIn.com solution. They call sales solutions. As of today. So that's how we flip internal learning back to the site. So I think I will jump this marketing stuff later, because marketing is the same thing. We support internal whole marketing group. We predict who will buy LinkedIn subscriptions. We use 3 data type, right? So behavior data, demographic data, and social data. We cut this random universe into a pyramid, and then a steep, more pyramid, and then a leaf. That's exactly the shape of the final model. It tells us almost like leaf. Finally, this becomes target audience. This model generated 300% revenue in 2011. I mean the lift, 300%. So I like to share, how we evolve or what evolution means at LinkedIn. Remember, traditional people build predictor models, right? A lot of models. We built a lot. We found out that this is creating a lot of problems. First of all, the data is keep changing. LinkedIn.com, we have 1 million different type of pages, different type of web pages. No one would imagine, right? 1 million of them. So a lot of new, we call product or pages that keep changing. Those are the variables to feed into the model. We found out if we don't keep click the button, the model always degrading. Always. So we figured out this way, how can we solve this problem, right? The tracking, the pages keep changing, the modeling is kind of like static, right? So we have to rebuild all the time. We have a lift, by the way. Whenever we rebuild, we have a better lift. Marginal improve 10%, 8%, 20% maybe. So we built a system like this. Oh, sorry, I jumped a little bit too far. Like this. We built a robot. We call it Hadoop. Machine learning on Hadoop. What a weird name. It must be Chinese, developers. So the system is like this. There's a machine on the back end every day, sleeplessly keep building models by using different type of algos on the back end. Keep building nonstop by using the existing data set. The existing data set keep changing. For example, some page retired, some page new page in. That data set is very elastic, very flexible. Just keeping including the new data set, dump all things. And then this machine learning thing built, maybe 16 different models on the back end dynamically every day. We use analytics to predict whether this model is better than the existing one on the site or in marketing CRM system. If we are confident enough, so hey, there's a lift, then the model automatically flip on the site or within our internal email marketing system. So this one solves 3 problems. First, we don't need to keep click button anymore. Second, so the model can self-serve, add some marginal improvement every day, every week. We don't need to worry. The third, release people's time by clicking the button can do something more important. And then this system is in LinkedIn for about I think a year. Let me jump this. This is crazy. So let me jump to the A/B testing. I skipped the A/B testing one. We can do A/B testing as of today on LinkedIn.com to analyze 2,000 tests, A/B testing live tests for 500 KPIs. It's crazy. I used to work at eBay PayPal, we together, we didn't know each other. We used to manually do this. Typically, one A/B testing would cost maybe a month, 2 months. Absolutely, right? Right now, everything being fully integrated and automated on the site, right? The stats formula being embedded. And then this one help PM to improve their productivity a lot. I remember in 1 week, we launched 16 tests on one page. The PM can make quick decision, adjust, finally provide a solution, increase, let's say, the conversion rate by 25% in a week. So, and that's very important for speed. So lastly, I would like to talk a little bit about sentiment. NLP, Vin just shared. So at LinkedIn, so how about, let me ask you a question. How to measure the beauty of this flower? How beautiful this flower is? Very beautiful. Yeah, very. Can you rate it? Can you rate how this flower versus another one? Which one is more beautiful? I think we could in our mind. Can you use a mathematical formula to tell me? Is it a score 10 or score 5 or is 0? How would you rate it?
Degree of symmetry.
Okay, degree of symmetry, great. So that's great. So, and actually we talked with some people who grow roles in US. He's the largest vendor. I asked him, hey, how you measure beautiful or beauty of the flower? And the answer from big data guys all say, hey, this must be evenly distributed. That means beautiful. And the guy, so who's a really geek of a rose, he said typically the plants are not geometrically balanced. The beautiful not from there. Anyway, the same question is how satisfied for customer is, how happy they are for LinkedIn products. I know there must be some very mad customers here for LinkedIn.com. But how to measure this, right? People would not say, hey, I score you 80% happy, right? No, there's no score. What we should do? First, we hear customer, they have a lot of complaints, like, hey, I want to close my account, I want to change, I want to upgrade, I want to change this and change that. Second, we have a lot of group discussions about LinkedIn, on LinkedIn.com or somewhere else. Third, we have the apps, LinkedIn apps. I don't know how many people install that, but I personally hate it because it's very different, from the desktop version. Recently, getting a lot better. The reviews, right? From Apple Store or some other publishers. NPS survey, so LinkedIn keeps sending those kind of research survey to a select user group, to understand whether they like LinkedIn product or not. The last not the least, so we have Twitter feeds, Facebook comments, all sort of text related stuff. So how to derive why their customer are happy? That's number one question. Number two, what they are talking about, without Simon go there manually take a look at every single comments, right? So we build a system we call the voices. A text mining or a sentiment analytic tool to analyze all those, text related feedbacks like this. So for example, today, if a PM at LinkedIn want to understand the homepage is good or not, he just need to type in maybe homepage, and then all the sentiment all show up. Plus, we give them a score, and also tell them the trend of people like it or not. All this. So the beautiful part of this system is you can almost use this to do any of the text-related analysis. It's not perfect yet, by the way. It's not perfect. I'm just saying. So LinkedIn, we are I would call us a technology company and a product company, but not just a traditional internet company. That's how we scale the business. We don't want to do manual analysis. We did manual analysis on this, but it's just not scalable. So, and how about we talk about this? technology, you don't want to know, by the way. You really don't want to know. This is only, I think, 30% of the data flow for the previous tool I shared. The whole thing has been built in 3 months by perhaps maybe 5 people working crazily, by the way. So I'm just saying, the big data analytics is a part of the, I think, the truly an engine, right? To generate a lot of value by using data. The way to use data is only depends on one thing. I mean, how high your imagination is. So there's no end. Same data can generate multiple type of value all the time. So it's not like a gas, you burn it out and you're gone, right? You pay again. Data is there. You just how you monetize, how you look at this, this is just a part of the life and the art. And I really appreciate this opportunity being here. Thank you very much.
You want to open up
Yeah,
minutes of questions?
yeah.
We are out of
So,
time.
yeah, so we are already out of time. I just open the questions from the audience, and whoever is having question, I'll give the mic.
Sorry, I'm particularly interested in what Visa is doing in terms of your work or maybe your work. I know you're involved with like fraud and trust and safety, those kind of things, but outside of that, what kind of interesting scenarios can you maybe share with us?
Yeah, I can give a generic answer, like, typically financial institutes are very secretive about it.
They are not listening.
So, when you talk about risk models, right, typically it's a process and it is iterations that happens every single minute, every single day. When you build models, Kevin, Simon touched on that, A/B testing. So you test those models on a population, see the effectiveness of that. At the end of the day, when you build a risk model, what is the biggest risk to the risk model is that, you may identify a good guy as a bad guy, right? And what is the experience? Like if I stop an account of a person who is good, thinking that that's a fraudulent transaction, it's a worst experience. And at the end of the day, when we build models, we are continuously looking at those false positives to minimize those. And then what caters to that is the search for data points. If I have my model built on 10 data points, I sniff around to see the effectiveness of those data points, to see what is effective, what is not effective, and are there things around that I'm not using that can make this model more penetrative and precise. So it's a continuously iterative process. You look at variables, you look at what is working, what is not, and then bring continuously new data points and learning into your model.
So it's fraud and risk, again, would say the large proportion of things that you work with in terms of data application and about increasing revenue.
Typically, yes, means like fraud and risk is always going to be one of the biggest investment area in any financial institutes. Yes, that's true.
Okay, thank you.
Apart from loyalty.
Anyone else? Oh, look, you guys are all ready to do more analytics.
Just give it.
So my question is actually very generic. You attach various predictions, and human beings are extremely complex people. So let's say LinkedIn would have evaluated things from your business point of view as to people are clicking and you're reaching and doing. But whereas a human being, as a consumer, might be clicking for a completely different reason. So analysis might be factually, from a business point of view, it might be accurate, but let's say from a consumer point of view, it might not be accurate. I'll give you an example. So LinkedIn actually keeps putting up all these ads and job boards, whatnot, right? So there's something that was kind of interesting, so I just clicked on it. The next thing I realize is I keep getting, emails. Okay, these are so-and-so companies, and here's all the different types of jobs. Soon, a lot of recruiters started calling out, right? So fine, it might be great from LinkedIn point of view, from this, and let's say I connected with maybe 2 or 3 recruiters just out of courtesy. Then my company is noticing, because my boss is also kind of connected there. So my company is noticing, okay, this guy is kind of talking to recruiters, right? So there's a trust element that kind of starts suffering, right? So what the context out here is, there's a user, there's a consumer, and it's very difficult for us to really find out why is he, doing what he's doing at that point in time. There are assumptions that you can make. 90% of the time it might be true, but there might be different reasons. Similarly, I'll give you an example of Netflix. So I've got this, let's say I've created an account, and everybody in my family is just using that same account, right? So I don't go watch movies that much. My daughter gets onto that, and she's been watching all sorts of teen dramas and teen movies. And whenever I look at it, I'm just getting recommendations of teen. So maybe you need to, of course, it needs to be modified further. So the question is very simple. How would you change the context from a business or why you're trying to drive it from, let's say, a consumer point of view?
So first, I receive a lot of those emails as well. So and perfect. I mean, email marketing strategy. I don't know. So too many emails. I would say that this is a great question. Actually, big data would solve this problem. So from LinkedIn perspective, they look at high-level aggregation the most, right? However, from consumer perspective, LinkedIn right now design the roadmap. That's why we call it data-driven product. We want to customize this, for every single member. That's number one. So we want to touch long-tail customer. Cannot use human being touch button, but more like machine learning, right? Predictivity. Second, we must be able to imagine or develop new models. For example, the first LinkedIn, let's say a data product, long time ago, called People You May Know. This data product, never use any of the your name, let's say your network, or your let's say industry, your gender, your location, your company. Use nothing about any of those feasible, let's say data features, but only using a data connection or people-to-people connections. And the guy who invented this, he used to be a physicist. He used exactly the gravity formula to use a human being connection to mimic what's going on. He found out, the people's connection cluster are almost exactly the same, like the galaxy, how the solar system be organized as of today. So that model increased a lot of efficiency on the front end. That's back to the question about, let's say, recruiter keep contacting you, so you must be great, by the way. So otherwise, recruiter will never call you. And however, the likelihood, a recruiter contacting you versus the likelihood you contact a recruiter, even the same connection, but direction are different, will derive, the likelihood you will become a job seeker or not. So that's one thing. The last thing I like to highlight is, first, a lot of people talk about the big data. Actually, we only capture tiny amount of information, exactly like what you said, right? So today, YouTube will promote those cartoon movies to me 90% of the time, every day, YouTube. Because my kid, use my iPad sometimes and watching movies. The recommendation is a mix between concertos, right? So those music stuff versus my kids' cartoon movie, Super Mario stuff, and I think that's a big problem. This problem actually is give a lot of room for all of us to solve that. How can you use incomplete data, tiny amount of information, to predict in a very accurate way? Actually, so before I close, I think I talk too much. So I asked a professor. I asked him. He's a stats major, and he's teaching in Stanford, right? He taught this for 60 years about stats. Very old, or old person. He told me. I asked him, is there a way we can build a model? We can have 50% accuracy, can predict one person, right? Without only have, let's say, 1% conversion rate. You know what he told me? He told me, hey Simon, do you know your wife? I said, sort of, I know. Okay, he asked me, do you know what she's doing now? I said, I had no idea. He might be home, might be in the shop. Who knows?
She was in a mall.
Yeah, she was in mall. Great, great business model, for sure. Yes, exactly. So he said that the information you have is so tiny. There's no way you can predict everything by yourself. However, if you can guesstimate your likelihood of a close, it's good enough. And also, by the way, if you want to predict everything by 50%, the only thing you can become, but maybe you cannot make it, is the God. That's what he told me. Anyway, so just for fun. And I would say there's a lot of room for us to improve, and we'd like to work with you to unlock that secret.
Okay, last
Hi,
question.
my name is Michelle. I'm from Ohio State University. I'm working in purchasing department at Ohio State. So my question is from like purchasing, like supply chain perspective. I noticed you guys, all of you guys using the Mac to do the presentation, but in terms of the data processing, what kind of system did you use? Like in the future, maybe Ohio State will purchase more Macs if the data, the computers, the Mac, because currently we use PC to process data, I guess, in our school.
So I think the processing is becoming really, it's all on the cloud, right? It's that button that you talk about, right? So as a software guy, that's all black magic that, the Amazon or EC2 or whoever takes care of it, right? So, and with the wearable computing, you won't even go behind the computer anymore. So it's becoming all ambiguous, I would say, right? I mean, the fact that you're saying LinkedIn was able to do this in 3 months, you wouldn't be able to do this 5 years ago, or even 3 years ago, right? I mean, the technology has moved on so much. We have all these building blocks, which is all in the background. So let me back up. So, I looked at the big data. I put it in 3 different buckets, right? I said the first bucket is the data collection. So you talked about NLP, the natural language processing, because 80% of the data we deal with is actually, it's not structured data, picture, language, and so on, right? Then there's a whole infrastructure, what you're talking about, right? So, the Hadoops of the world, and I can go on and on, all the databases, the security, and so on and so forth, all the sensors, right? And then what we are talking about is the last mile, which is so what? You have now tons of data, and you stored it somewhere. What are you going to do with it? What's what I call the aha moment, right? I mean, as a human, what are we going to do with it, and how do you make money out of it at the end of the day? By the way, that's my recommendation to all the entrepreneurs here, is like, don't do technology for sake of technology. I mean, if there's no money, do something else. Go find something with money, right? So that piece that you're talking about, the infrastructure, is really, at least to me as a software guy, it's done by a bunch of really smart guys, and it doesn't matter what runs in the background. What are your thoughts there?
I think that's true. It's like, as you said, it is all virtual. Like, you can have any presentation there, or, way to fetch information. Where information is getting processed is all virtual, or, you don't see that. Means at the end of the day, like, Hadoop, why that came into play. Like, have you ever realized that your computer, 99% of its storage capacity remained redundant, and at any given point, only 1% is what can max out your capacity. And that is where that Hadoop MapReduce concept came in. And it is all backend, doesn't run on PCs.
In short, buy Mac. I have some shares in Apple. So. All right, so let's give can you come up? Let's cultivate time directly. Just come up and ask our questions. So give them a hand. Thank you so much. It was very enjoyable, very lively. And our next event is May 13th. Look out for email.